Hello and welcome into this week's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's Cup Rewind, we're looking back at Sunday's 31st Annual Toyota Save Mart 350, 90 laps, 226.8 miles around the 2.5-mile Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California. To be honest, not a lot happened in this race. This was one of the more boring Sonoma races in recent history. Only 2 cautions in this race, and that was the 2 stage breaks. So 2 cautions for 6 laps. Stage 1 concluded at lap 20, with William Byron taking the Stage 1 victory. Stage 2 concluded at lap 40. Stage 2 winner would be Denny Hamlin. 7 lead changes among 5 drivers. Martin Truex led the most laps, 59. 21 laps led by William Byron. 4 laps went to Denny Hamlin, and 3 laps apiece went to Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, the only real notable thing happening in this race, as he was out early with an engine issue. Other than that, this was the only real thing happening was the reverse pit strategy, which is kind of normal for Sonoma, and we didn't even really get that in full effect because of stages. So there wasn't a lot happening in this race. So let's get into your results. William Byron won the first stage. Denny Hamlin won the second stage. Truex led the most laps. Does that mean any of them won this race? Yes, it does. Martin Truex picks up the victory in this one, picking up his 23rd career Cup Series victory, holding off his teammate Kyle Busch, who came home in the second position. Ryan Blaney came on strong late for a strong third-place finish. Career best finish, first top 5 of his career for Matt DiBenedetto, running a Darrell Waltrip throwback this week for Darrell's last race in the booth. Great to see DiBenedetto having a strong run in this race, and Denny Hamlin rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Newman with a strong run in 7th, Eric Jones 8th, Eric Almirola, and Kyle Larson from the pole landed in the 10th position. 11th through 20th, Clint Bowyer in 11th, Jimmy Johnson 12th, Kurt Busch landed in the 13th position. 21st through 30th, Joey Logano, not a great day for him. Did end up on the lead lap, had a strong run going early, 3rd in the first stage, 4th in the second stage, but he came home in the 23rd position. Bubba Wallace back here in 26th, not known for his road racing prowess, so right about where you'd expect him at Sonoma or Watkins Glen. And final page, 31st through 40th. Only real name of note on here is Chase Elliott, as he was out at lap 60 with engine issues, so he made it 30 laps from the end of the race. Didn't even really have that strong of a car to begin with in this race, didn't seem like. Did not gain stage points in the first stage and finished 8th in the second stage, so really, I don't know that we really saw too much out of the 9 car in this race even before he had his engine issues. But that's your results from the Toyota Save Mart 350. Let's head over to the Media Center and we will see what Martin and his team had to say after their 4th victory of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's really stressful. You make your bed and you got to lay in it for a little bit there. So, yeah, I mean, I knew we were getting ready to probably lose a bit of time with the 32 that just came off pit road and had to come a couple laps earlier than we wanted to, and then Adam made the right call that he did to go 3 laps longer and split the run and go on the optimum strategy and yeah, the bed was kind of made. You weren't really sure, and Kyle came out ripping off some pretty quick laps, and we were having to get through lap traffic I think a little bit harder than he had to. So, but Martin settled in and really took the whole run as as overall and took care of the car really well and man, just unflappable, never made a mistake. And, I think we were doubting it pretty hard there, maybe with like 10 or 12 to go. But then we started matching them, and, that gives you confidence and, try and relay as much as you can to Martin. And, he did a great job there. I thought, the 43 almost went off in track right in front of us. And, he didn't get too worked up over it and settled in and did a great job.
Really excited. We really appreciate everybody here. We get a chance to come out to California and Northern California. It's a huge deal for our sponsors. I called auto owners and I called Bass Pro Johnny and Nora Miller from Interstate. When you think about that, our sport is so different in that you have to have great partners like that. And so, huge deal for us. Off to a great start. Dave Wilson from Toyota gave me an interesting, I was standing in Winter Circle and he goes, "Hey, do you realize that Cole and Martin have won this race 3 different times with 3 different owners and with the teams?" And I said, "You mean it's not the team that gets it done? You mean it's these guys?" "Oh, I get you." But it is pretty amazing. I think Cole and Martin, big deal for us. I thought Kyle did a great job today. Felt bad for Eric. On the last pit stop there, we had a tough time, and then Denny did a good job with FedEx. So big deal for us. I appreciate everybody back home. The Lord's blessed us with a great group of people, and it was a thrill for me to come out here and be honored, like you mentioned, to get on the wall there. It was a big deal for me, and anytime you get something like that, an honor, you think about everybody that it took to get here. I always think back to JD spending 27 years of his life building the race team, and you think back to things like that when you get an opportunity to get an honor like that.
And Ty won last night, so you're not going on much sleep. Pretty good couple days.
Yeah. Our little guy last night in St. Louis, we got in at 2 in the morning with that race. Ty.
Just trying to get all I could out of the car and not burn my tires up too much. And just hit my marks. I knew that, he pitted a little bit later there at the end, so he had a little fresher tires, and he was beating us pretty good there for a while, and I just had to try to manage my car the best I could to not burn the tires off, trying to go faster than I wanted to go. And I knew if we could just maintain a decent gap for long enough that we would start to equal out. And with 10 to go, we were equal in lap times. And then from there, it was like, all right, you just got to run 10 perfect laps and don't screw up. I mean, that was really the key. So was able to do that, fortunately, and hang on to it. And we had to pass some lap cars, and luckily we were able to catch them in the right places to not lose too much time to Kyle, and we were able to hold him off. So feels great. Feels amazing to win here 2 in a row. And the thought that maybe it could be 3 is pretty phenomenal. So thankful for an incredible team and cars, and just everybody who makes this thing go for us, and really lucky to drive great race cars.
And we'll take a look at your playoff grid before wrapping up here tonight. Martin Truex obviously joins the 4 Winners Club with his teammate Kyle Busch now at the top of the playoff grid here. Not really any other movements this week other than Ryan Newman up a spot over Jimmy Johnson back into a playoff position, but only by a point over Johnson. That cutoff line race is really tightening up here. We've got a really good battle going for the cutoff line as we get closer to the playoffs, and it's becoming more and more apparent that we may have a playoff this year without Jimmy Johnson. I know there's not a lot of people that want to hear that, and there are probably a lot of people out there that do want to hear that. Jimmy Johnson has been very polarizing because of how successful he's been in his career. But this may be the year that Jimmy Johnson doesn't make the playoffs. Last year he had an off year, but he still made the playoffs. He may not even do that this year. So it's going to be close if he does make the playoffs. He's right there, currently sitting 1 point out. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go forward toward the playoffs. But that is something to keep in mind, that we may have a Jimmy Johnson-less playoff this year. But that's your playoff grid following the Toyota Save Mart 350, and I believe that'll do it for us on this very quick Cup Rewind. Probably the quickest one we've had in a long time, because there just wasn't really anything to talk about in this race. The carousel was back. It's Darrell Waltrip's last race in the booth, but that's about it. There wasn't really anything notable all that much that was happening on track in this race. It was one of the more boring Sonoma races in recent memory. So you get what you get. We got all of our good racing out of the way on Saturday, apparently, with K&N from Sonoma and the doubleheader from Gateway with ARCA and Truex, which all 3 were really good races. Apparently, we got all the good racing for the weekend out of the way on Saturday. So it is what it is, and we'll be at Chicagoland next week, which arguably was the best finish of the 2018 season with the whole Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson thing. So we'll see if it can live up to that again this year. We will be at the track on Thursday, though, for the ARCA race. So as you've come to expect at this point. So we'll be giving you coverage from that on Saturday as they continue to go through their schedule, the 12th race of the 2019 ARCA season. So if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. While you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. But at that, this has been the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.